Bam! What's up, everybody? Good morning, 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 good morning. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Good morning, Lisa. Blessings to you as well. Thank you for always being here, rocking and sharing and doing the thing. And you are in the BOL zone. Nah, I don't want to say that again. Um, so I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging and being here with us. Let's see. We do have a pretty interesting topic. I might switch it up a little bit, but this is where we at right now. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for rocking and hanging. Welcome. All right. So make sure you share. Make sure you tag somebody. Let everybody know that we are in the building. We are here discussing all things brothers. We're going to be talking about how to be an effective school dad. And I know it has become an interesting thing, mainly because now, there may be some that are having their kids still at home like we are. I know a few that do have their kids in the building. So we're going to talk about being effective in both places. And it's now become, just challenging whatever restrictions there may be going around. Like here in Henry County, it was kind of opening, but now they're restricting. We're looking for the call for them to kind of shut school back down because, this Delta variant is something special. And good morning to everybody coming in. I see folks coming in the room. And I appreciate you. Make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Let everybody know that the brothers are in the building, or at least the brother. Pastor should be on soon. And I appreciate you guys being here because you could be watching anything. So much to watch. So much to watch. But you're here rocking with us. And I don't take it for granted. All right. Let's see. I was trying to share this a couple of places. Let's see. So make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. As well as tag somebody. Go into somebody's inbox and put a message like, "Yo, you need to watch this. Watch this. Watch this." Let everybody know that the brothers are doing some amazing things. So I appreciate you guys for real, being here. Because you could have been anywhere, but you're rocking with us. All right, so we're going to get into this. Like I said, tag a dad that might be frustrated right now. It's just, he don't know what to do when it comes to supporting the kids in school, because traditionally mom does a lot of that, but we as dads need to get into a place of stepping up as well and doing the thing. All right, so make sure you share, make sure you tag, and I appreciate you guys. It's Monday, guys. Happy Monday to you guys. We're going to have a great conversation, even if it's just me, because we can do this. All right, so let's spliggity splow. Let's get into it. We'll be right back. All right, good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. And welcome back. All right, so make sure you share, tag somebody. I'm getting this AT&T. I don't know, this internet thing, boy. I tell you, sometimes it's rather daunting. so, so, who is in the building? Good morning, Mama McCory. Great morning to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always sharing. Thank you for blasting everybody in the messenger. Oh, I need you to blast everybody. I know you said you cut certain people out. I need you to blast them all. Get them all in here. Get them all in here. Don't be scared. Don't worry. We'll be gentle. We'll be gentle. So yeah, so today, like I said, we're talking about being an effective school dad, being an effective school dad. So it's there's some basics to it. The key thing uh, is being consistent um, with what you do, and I think at least once a week, you should be interacting with someone in the school, or going up to the school, even for lunch or something, if you can per week. If your work schedule doesn't permit that, you need to find some way to interact via phone call, but you have to. I just want to encourage you to definitely be a part of the process. Because you don't want to not know what's going on directly. You can always get it secondhand from mom, or anyone else, but it's nothing like being connected directly and having an understanding of what's going on. Even even if you're the second one told, it doesn't matter. Just you want to be in the loop. Good morning, Keita. Good morning, Keita. Because a lot of times, it's good for everyone to be on the same page. And as a leader and leading your household, you want to be the one that knows stuff as well, because sometimes you have to get information. Mom may not be around, and now you're behind in all of what you need to know. So you just carrying information that you have no clue what it means. Like nothing worse than being lost when things are happening with your child. Um, and there's, there, and we're talking from a perspective of as a male stepping up, just being more aware. We get so caught up in providing and working and just doing that we lose out on what's happening in our children on a daily basis. And I want to kind of just dig into that, because I was like that for a long time. I didn't worry about it. She's taking care of it. Mom's taking care of it. My wife is taking care of it. Um, it doesn't. I don't need to know that. She got it. But it comes to a point where you need to be in the loop as well. Your wife shouldn't be carrying all of the weight, because it becomes daunting sometimes. And you're putting unnecessary pressure and work where you can at least try to carry some of that. At least you have an idea of what's going on, and you can help in the decision. You can be a part of the decision making, because if she has all the information, then you're not a part of the decision making. How can you make a educated decision on something you have no clue what's going on? Because you have to do backstory to backstory to backstory. It's, because you, the little bit of information you may receive, you're like, oh, let's just go with that. But then she may say, do you know what that really means? So as a male, a man running your household, you have to be aware of what's going on. Be aware of what your children are into, so you and your wife can be on the same page, and one person is not carrying all the responsibility, all the load, everything. And there is an understanding of what's going on. What's the educational level of your children? And, like we discussed last week, kids learn differently. So, how your child is progressing. How to follow your child when it comes to their schooling or their learning. you know when they're progressing, or when you need to contact the teacher, like, all right, my son, love him, sometimes he has gaps in information, so it's like I need to call the teacher. But if you don't have a relationship with the teacher, sometimes them getting back to you slows up. So as a dad, we have to become more active. We have to be more engaged in the children's learning. And like I said, with online schooling, we have to be effective in getting the information, getting what we need, so that we can make better decisions and and be a part of the decision making. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me get my brother like no other, Pastor Brian McCory, Senior, in the building. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
So today, we talk about being an effective school dad. Um, I know this is really more to my brothers, so my sisters can kind of see where we at, our thought process, and what we're doing to step up, to be more engaged. And like I was saying, for myself, for the most part of their schooling, um, I just worked. I work, I come home, I get secondhand information. Like, okay, what's going on? I get the rundown. Um, but I think we need to be more engaged in getting information so we can, make decisions together, and know what's happening in school. And like I said, if mom needs to run out, or we're not lost. Like, what we doing this? Where they going? What's that? Like, when they been doing that? Like, how long they been doing that? And it doesn't throw us through a loop. And it's funny because it's kind of like when I first became a dad. I watching all the sitcoms and shows. I never wanted to be that silly TV dad that had no clue to do what to do with my baby. Like, you watch them shows. I was like, I never want to be that dude that just has no clue what's going on with my child. Oh, like, how you change the diaper? So, and so I think I've always just wanted to be engaged, but with school, I kind of got lost because I was like, all you need is one parent. They get the information. That's enough. But understanding that, we need to be engaged, carrying some of the load of the information, and being aware of the growth in your children, where they're at, how they're learning and what they're learning. So what's been some of your experience of trying to stay engaged with your children in school? And what's it like at this level, going into high school?
Look, my last one is coming out of high school.
Right.
So,
Right.
I probably have forgotten more than most folks
Right.
have yet to learn. So but for me, I'm at a point to where my youngest Rachel is a senior this year,
Right.
and at this point she's self-driven. She's on
Right.
autopilot. There's not a whole lot because the standard has been set, and
Okay.
there's been enough consistency. She recognizes the goal. She
Okay. Okay.
understands what it takes because she's come this far. And
Right.
I'm grateful that, she's an honor student.
Okay.
They're my children are honor students. And so they got it early in life. This
Right.
is the stuff that, you have to start from birth,
Right.
teaching your child how to learn and
Right.
understanding how they learn, all
Right.
of that. So this is, when you ask a question like that, I'm 30, 34 years in, 5
Right.
children,
Right.
um, and grandchildren now. So I would say, to your point, it's all about engagement. It's never about leaving it for someone else to do.
Right.
You have to have an interest in the rearing of your child, and it's biblical.
Right.
It doesn't say mothers train up the children. It doesn't say
Right.
fathers train up the children. It says
The
train up
train up.
the children.
Right.
You
Right.
know, if God has not given it a specific assignment, then we're all responsible.
Right. Right.
You know,
That's true.
that's what I understand, and so um, that's really it. It's funny. I think about who's I'm looking at the people that are on. Sister Keita doesn't have any babies at home. My mom Shirley has no babies at home. Lisa doesn't have any babies at home.
Right.
My question is, who are the ones out there that are raising children now
Hey,
that are of
Laura. Good morning.
school age? You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right.
and you have questions. I would challenge someone to ask questions and
Right.
see how we can respond to those questions, because
Right.
there's just so much to it.
Right.
And
Right.
the fact that every child is different. Every
Yeah.
child, number one, every child has the ability to learn,
Right.
uh, but not every child learns the same way.
Right.
They don't all
Right.
process information the same way. So I think it's taking notice of those types of things. When you have multiple children in the household, they don't all learn the same. So
Right.
don't put all your children in one basket
Right.
of understanding. That's a
Right.
mistake that you can make, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, so again, there's there's so much to it, man.
Right. Right. There is quite a bit. Like me and Pastor different phases. I'm kind of first round going into into the middle school. My son is 1 year from starting high school, so next year, I know this whole COVID thing has kind of shifted and changed how we
Yeah.
do. Like I said, my kids are still at home because I just wasn't comfortable with the way they had the school set up, and it's learning to just be engaged. Like really being engaged. Sometimes, everyone's like, "Man, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this." You take it all. Like,
Yeah, but here's the thing.
yeah.
We are hesitant to step into things that we are fearful of.
Yes, indeed.
And if
Hmm.
you didn't like school, you don't want
Hmm.
to have any part of it in a lot of cases with your children,
Zero.
you know.
Zero. All right.
But
Right.
your
Yeah.
child doesn't know that.
Right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's true.
You'll always be the expert to your children. So
Right.
it's easy
Right.
to
That's
impress
good.
them. So there's no pressure
Yeah.
on parents.
Right.
A lot of parents are learning along with the child. When my last two, when Brianna and Rachel were going through middle school and stuff, they were doing stuff that I didn't do in middle school. You know,
Right. Right.
and to be honest, I think they did some stuff I didn't do in high school. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's there's nothing wrong with learning alongside your child,
Right. Right.
because you can be learning the same thing, but you're going to grasp it at a much different level
Right.
than your child. So you'll always be
That's
superior,
good. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's what it should take the weight and the pressure off.
Right.
And when your child is not looking, go do some additional research.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
that's the thing that I've learned.
Right.
My child comes home with something that I don't understand. I'm going to Mr. Google.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go to YouTube,
Right.
right,
Exactly.
and see what formulas work, and then bring it back to the child,
Right.
and look like an expert, look like a genius.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so those are,
Yeah.
and there's so many advantages
Right.
as a parent that
Yeah.
alleviate the pressure of working with your children, and
Right.
then never be afraid to engage with the school. One of the things that I have learned is that it's tougher to be really engaged in the school because they've put so many restrictions, so many
Right.
limitations,
Right.
on the parents when it comes to school engagement.
Right.
And that's disappointing to me, but it shouldn't stop you. I've learned that you can't make somebody parent a child,
Right.
but you can't stop somebody from parenting a child either.
Right. Right. Right.
Right.
You're right.
So
Right.
that's what I've learned, and that's what I try to get people to understand.
Right.
Parent your children, and that
Yeah.
means at home, on the
Yes.
playground, at the
Yes.
grocery store, in the
Right.
schoolyard, in the classroom. Parent your children,
Right.
and you will reap great rewards.
Right.
And I'm saying, and I'm speaking to fathers who
Yeah.
take for granted that the mothers
Right.
do the work.
Right.
I have no issue with mothers. I encourage mothers. I'm grateful. I'm the son of a mother. I'm the son of a teacher.
Right.
Right. So education is critical to me. It's important, that early education is important to me. It always has been. My mother was she specialized in early childhood education.
Right.
So I've learned that if you can put the bulk of the work in at a very early age,
Yeah.
you won't have to work as hard
Mm.
later on. A
That's
lot of
good.
it is when they miss the fundamental stuff,
Right.
the
Yeah.
foundational stuff. It becomes
True.
so difficult. You can't teach a child division that never learned addition and subtraction,
Right. Right.
right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that's real,
Yeah.
and so if you don't do anything else, get the basic, the fundamentals down with your
Right.
children, their ABCs and one, two, threes. Get them to thinking on their feet. Get them to calculating addition and
What's up,
subtraction,
Calvin?
multiplication,
Right.
in their mind,
Right.
to the point to where they're not having to write it down on a piece of paper, and you know,
Right.
get them to the point where they're putting their fingers away.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
you can if
Yeah.
you can master all of that stuff
Right.
early in life before they're 6, 7 years old,
Right.
man, you have taken a ton of weight off of
Right.
yourself when it comes to academics and your children and spelling and
Yeah.
writing, that kind
Right.
of thing. You'll never write if you never read.
Right. That's good.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing that people don't understand. Your child
Yeah.
will never write if they never read. That's
Yeah.
just the truth.
Right.
And so I think reading is fundamental. Reading teaches you to write,
Yeah.
because you become familiar with the words, become
Yes.
familiar with the letters,
Right.
you can begin to comprehend, you formulate thoughts and stuff like that. And so all of that is critical, and it all comes at the very early age in life. I'm talking about, your child can read by the time they're 2,
Yeah.
and people don't understand that.
Right.
People
True.
don't understand. I'm talking fathers. Don't
Right.
baby talk your children.
Right.
You
Never did.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
children mimic what
Yeah.
they hear.
Yeah.
And if you want them to talk, speak words to them.
Right. And
Read to
it's
them.
funny that you say that, because I had to hear that. I think my kids were around 1, and someone had said that. I was like, that makes sense. You don't want them to talk like that. Don't talk to them like. So yeah, so I begin to speak words, and hey baby, like hi, full words, and and real comprehension. And it's funny. And then I think when my kids were around, I think my son was around 5 or something, I would like handshake him, I don't do the heads up, like, and I don't know, someone was asking me, he said, just your son talks well. I said, yeah. I said, that's the plan. He can learn the street stuff himself. He'll get all that. That's easy. It's
Yeah.
like the proper stuff is what I need him to do, so it is imperative that, I guess, like, whatever you want your child to become, you got to put it in them as early as possible,
Show them. Yeah, you got to show
yeah,
them.
because it's like I said, it's easy to learn the bad stuff. It is. I always find that hilarious. You ever have the moments either listening and watching something, and a word is said, you're like, oh Lord, did they hear that word?
They heard it.
Right. Look, don't let them repeat that.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's so funny. And the parent told me, it's like, just don't. You got to move on with the moment. Don't. If you stick there, the kid will be like, "What did I just miss?"
Yeah. If
What
you give
did
it
I
attention, they'll give
Yes.
it attention.
Yes, there you go. There you go. But yeah, it's I think when it comes to, like, engaging the school, it's just, and yeah, I'm the dude that I struggled in school. Like, so when it came to this moment of being a dad, I'm like, all right, we gotta get out of that and get engaged, like, be a part of this process, be a part of the learning, and things of that nature. I remember, hundreds of years ago when I was in French class, and my dad was like, I can't help you with that. He's like, yeah, I didn't do good in French. That wasn't my thing. That wasn't my thing.
I didn't even take French.
Right. Oh man, I struggled.
I took hood French. Where every time you spoke French, you said, "Excuse my French."
Oh man. So yeah, it's definitely important that you engage early, engage consistently, try to reduce the gaps. Years go by fast. We know, if you got kids, you look around. I think my kids are getting an inch taller every day. Good morning, Sam.
Hey, that's my truth.
So, in, like I said, let's see, going into, so for you, the time that you used to put in, having to really um, navigate them, going into high school? Is it kind of watching from afar and seeing the grades, you know, or how do you stay engaged in the high school level? How do you,
Well, there's
what's
no
your
excuse
engagement look like?
today. There's no
Huh?
excuse today. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh
There's
yeah,
no
you're fine.
excuse today because these portals that the
Okay.
students have,
Right.
there's parent portals. You have access to
Right.
all of the information. And so, once I think it's important for your children to understand that you have access,
Right.
right? So that they're always conscious of
Right.
that. You know, um, when my last two got to high school, I would it was like a pop quiz. Hey, pull up the portal. Let me see.
Right.
Have them log in and walk
Right.
you through what you're
Right.
looking at. So
Right.
there's empowerment, but there's also accountability.
Right.
If you can't walk me through what we're looking at, then we have a problem.
Right.
So they got to a space where they were always paying attention themselves, and then
Okay.
they could check themselves.
Right.
If the best way to know whether or not your child is doing what they're supposed to do is when they hesitate to log in to the portal in your presence.
You want to look right now? Right now?
Yeah, like right now. Yeah. And the thing is, either it's there or it's not.
Right.
I went through
Right.
that whole, oh, she must not have processed that yet. Okay.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She hasn't recorded that yet. She hasn't uploaded it yet. Okay. All right. And the great part is, I can email the teacher.
Right.
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 Once you get, all the back end of the emails are all the same.
Yeah.
Right. You just need to know the name of the teacher.
Yes. Yes.
So I email teachers, and in fact, like we got to a point, my wife and I, where I was the one communicating with the teachers and not my wife, because as men, they assume you're not engaged anyway.
Right.
So when a man is engaged, it's almost a shock to the system, especially Black fathers.
Right.
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 That they're not in a hurry to provide information to you. And so that's work. That's always been a task, getting teachers or administration to take Black fathers seriously when we inquire.
Right. Right.
Their assumption is, oh, he got the children this week.
Right. Yeah.
Playing a role,
Yeah. Especially if you haven't been. I remember, man, it was like 2 years. Has it been 2 years, Sam? 3 years? First starting out, like just coming, it was kind of a shock. And then, it's funny, like, what was it, before COVID, me and Sam went into the class, went into the office. They all like, Mr. Walker, who's that? Who's that lady with you? Like, oh,
yeah,
that's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'll look at Elix said,
Oh yeah, let me put this up here. He said that's so true. My daughter memorized a book at 2 years old, word for word, and couldn't read yet. We read the same book every night to her, and she memorized the book. Right? I thought she could read. She knew. Listen,
I'll be right back, man. I got a guy working on my garage door. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. There was I think there was a kid. I think it might have been Zion. And it seemed like he was reading, but he had memorized. He said, "Have to put your business in the street." He kept looking at the book like he was reading it, but yeah, he had somehow memorized the book. Oh, right. Yes, I was. But yeah, it's yeah, kids, they figure ways out. They figure ways to remember things, and you got to see if they're reading or did they remember it. Yeah. So, but it's definitely important to be engaged in the school, so that they see both parents, so that they know who's who, and you're not just the name on the list, to make sure that you're picking up the kids with the ID, but they know who you are. And they know your engagement. For us, teachers always knew to call, because they knew that's an effective way to get our children right, especially my wonderful son. But yeah, it's being engaged, being there. So, two parents, of course, is being engaged is better than just one, because they can at least have a backup if they can't reach one parent. At least they have a relationship with both parents. So it's definitely important that you are a part of everything that they're doing, everything that they're getting a part of, everyone that they're around, knowing their teachers, because there may be moments, and me Sam have experienced that the teachers are not being effective. The teachers are not um, teaching right, or having the best engagement with your child. And there may need to be a change, but if you're not engaged, and you may not believe, what your child is going through, you know. So we have to know, after sometimes you meet the teacher, you're like, now I see the problem. You can see how the teacher engaged and how the teacher interacts. You're like, now I see why we have an issue with my child, and there may need to be a switch or a change in classes and things of that nature, because we've got to know who's teaching our children, and who's engaging our kids. It's definite. So right, because every child is different. What works for one may not work for the others. I always remember, let's see, it said, as men, we just have to start showing up at school, right? One of your child, and two, for the teacher to know your involvement, right? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because then it becomes consistent, and they don't know who you are. And sometimes you may have thought they had your information, but they may not. So you can always share that. Make sure they got the updated emails and texts and phone numbers and all that great stuff. But yeah, we have to be effective in knowing, what's going on in the school. If our child is struggling, find out why. Because there are times when it's not just them. And I know that's like, really? Sometimes it's not them. Sometimes it's the way the teacher and your child are interacting, how your child is learning, and the teacher may not have the patience for, or giving your child an extra that they may need, like just how they may be moving fast, and because when you get lost, you just stop. Like, I don't know where we at. I don't know what's going on, and it takes having those conversations. And then sometimes when your child may not be doing as well, there's no communication till you get a progress report. Just like, I wish I knew this beforehand. Now, like Pastor said, we do have the portals, so we can see grades, and we see issues, we can take it up with our teachers. So make sure the communication is strong, because it seemed like, every year was like a fight to get effective communication. And we was like, we want to know what's happening before the progress report. So communication. So if he or she is doing something in class that he's not supposed to, let us know, because we know that's the problem. So we can attack things at the root, instead of waiting until it built up into something more than it should be. So this effectiveness is consistent and constant. We have to be engaged. We have to know what's going on. And like I said, let's see. Yes, you're right. Sometimes it's not them. I want to know as soon as possible if there's a problem. Yeah, exactly. Like one school, me and Sam had dealt with one teacher. We had to take him out, because it's just like, it's just it was. I think it's probably 2 classes. Yeah, it just was not working. Right. You have to hold folks responsible, your kids first, but the teacher as well. Yes. Got to hold the teachers responsible as well, because if there's issues, or, because frustration can set in, and a teacher can give up on your child, because that's possible. It's like, I can't, it's like, that's not the attitude. And you have to take action. Like, okay, I hear you. We're working on it, but you got to have patience with them. You got to let us know. It's going to take a little bit of extra effort. We're not asking to hold his hand. Just let us know, so we can attack the issue at home and do something about it, so he can stay on top, stay on task, because like I said, everybody learns differently. Classroom settings, some people struggle with it. So we have to find a way to get through the struggle, so they can learn effectively and let's move forward. So they're getting the grades, they're getting the education. It may be an uphill battle, but you can win this thing. So yeah, it's gotta have that communication though. That communication is key. Like you say it in relationships, communication is key, because when there's no communication between teachers and having effective communication and consistent communication, then your child falls through the crack. And like I said, if there's two parents being contacted, then at least someone's being talked to about what's going on at school, and someone can respond and answer and things of that nature. So we have to constantly be a part of this, be a part of the process, especially as men. I'll say traditionally we haven't. I know we've gotten better. Our generation is getting better because we're more engaged, because we want to know what's happening in school. Something's going on. It's like you want to know, like you want to make sure if your child is struggling, that it's on his end and not because a teacher is treating him a certain way because of whatever reason. So yeah, we have to continuously be engaged, have to know what's going on. And I always think about when I think Lexi was 3 or 4, and we was at another school, and she went from, I think she was in pre-K and going to kindergarten, had one teacher that was like loving and nice. Then the next teacher next year she was real stern, like not as loving as the teacher before. And my daughter she couldn't handle it. She wasn't having it. She flipped out, threw a fit. Yeah, it was, it's just, yeah, because, she wasn't as, but she's like a kindergarten, she used to some love, some hugs or something, yeah, detached, right? Detached and cold. Yes. And it's funny. What's up, Rich? Oh, it's funny. When we heard about it, it was like, no, not our Lexi. And going there, we met the teachers like, now we see why. We see why, right? Don't do that to my baby. She ain't attacked nobody. There's no proof of that. Yeah. She did. She was upset. She was upset. She just wasn't having it. She wasn't having it because there was no love, no hugs. Just come in class. We're gonna learn. Just sit down somewhere. So I think it was nap time, and she went. I ain't going to sleep. I'm mad now. I think she flipped over the mat or something. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, it's like I said. But Lexi is all the teachers love her. So that's why it threw us off. Like, what's going on? But you realize it's more the teacher, just their interaction. Her relationship just wasn't vibing. And sometimes teacher may not be wrong. It's just who they are. Maybe they need to work on stuff, but it's just it works for other students, but it just doesn't work for every student. So you have to be mindful of who's teaching the child, what they're teaching them, what they're learning. And that you have those dinner conversations or after school conversations about what's going on in school, what you learn in school, what your teachers talk about, because I talked about like last week, sometimes the politics of stuff and politics in particular, everybody has an opinion, but you go there to learn, not get somebody's opinion. Because my kids constantly, with the Donald Trump thing and, those some of the things the teachers were saying we agreed upon politically. I was like, that's still not a place for you to be having those conversations or getting that information, because fortunately for them, at least their views agreed with us, but I was like, well, what about the families on the opposite end? That's not a good look. It's not a good look. I think it's not the place for it, regardless of what it is, unless, human rights is human rights. Issues are issues, but when you get into the political side of certain things, you want school to stay out of it. Just teach my children what's on the curriculum. That's it. Let it be. I think that's where those lines get crossed and issues can happen. So yeah, we have to, like I said, be mindful of what teachers are teaching your children every day. What are they talking about? Because sometimes, if you really think about it, at least back in the day, 2 years ago, they spent a majority of their growing up is in school. a majority of information that they're getting is coming from school. At least that focused energy, that focused attention is coming from school. So what they're learning in school can shape who they are, good, bad, ugly, and different. So we as parents have to be engaging in the information being shared. So if information is shared that is not in agreement with our household, that we're correcting that. Random question, Mr. Richard. I have no idea. I think that was one of our trivia, probably about 2, I think. But yeah, so it's definitely definitely imperative that we are staying engaged, mom and dad, no matter what relational situation you have going on, both are staying engaged, being united, a united front, because kids love nothing more than a divide and conquer. So always, that unification is key. So regardless of relational situation or what's happening, you have to show a united front. You have to agree, at least in front of them, around them. There has to be agreement, standing with each other when it comes to them learning, correction, the teaching, and things of that nature. Let's see. Said, imagine trying to stay a part of your children's education, and you get a divorce, and now you're blocked from giving input. Yeah, that's a rough situation. Let's see. You don't want their adult conversation to be that you were never interested in their education, right, and never came to the school. Yeah. That's the challenge or the tug of war. But you have to reach some kind of agreement, some kind of understanding. You have to find ways to put relational squabbles aside. And I know sometimes it's hard if you have feelings all caught up, but it's imperative for your children that you put those relational issues to the side and do things for the children. Yeah, there's not much more on that one. You it's key. I don't care what's happened. And I know, care what's happened in your relationship, you got to do it for the kids. And like I said, staying on the same page. Like, this is what we agreed to. This is what we're sticking to. And I think the pettiness is destructive for your kids. It's destructive. Because like I said, kids love a little conquering, dividing. I can't get my way here, but if I go over here, I know how to get my way. All I got to start out with, Mom said, or, Dad said. I don't care what Dad said. It's like, I know, Mom, that's what I'm saying. This is what we going to do then. Kids, it's bad, but, I've been the kid tried that. I tried it once. Tried it. Yeah. I met some consequences and repercussions. Like, wait, did she just say what? And then you tried to come what? Oh yeah. It quickly crumbled. Conquering happened. Pain came, and I never did it again. All right. Pastor back in the building. Oh man, bad but true. Yes, indeed. Divide and conquer. The moment they get a hint, like, if I can just divide it, I can get what I need. So yeah, definitely.
We have a famous phrase in this house. My wife's famous phrase is, "Did you talk to your dad?"
Right. Right. Yes.
My famous phrase is, "What did your mother say?"
Right. Yeah. Right. So you're about to get 2 strikes. So if you're gonna look at me and then lie,
checks and balances, man. Checks and balances. Absolutely.
What did she say? Like, why does that matter? Like, you the head of the household.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, if they can figure the buttons to push.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I know if you say it's okay.
Right. Right. Oh no.
Sorry. I took that class.
Right.
Go to my wife and be like, "Lovely, what do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts about this?"
Right, 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 right. It said, right. Those should be household favorites everywhere. Right,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Oh man, that is funny. That is funny. Oh, so yeah, so but I started talking about just being on the same page with raising your kids as far as right. Kids will divide and conquer if you let them.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
See,
definitely.
I came up in a single parent household. We couldn't even play. There's only one voice.
Only one, nobody else to go to.
Mm-mm. No.
You ever try to introduce somebody like that was a friend or neighbor or something like such and such said or they suggested or
Not when I was growing up. Not if you wanted to live in that house. You don't
or
bring
they
somebody's
go
name up in the house that's not paying the bills.
right,
Is their name on the?
right.
No, no, no.
Miss Lisa said
Look. That's a quick invitation to a sleepover. Well, you go live
right.
at their house.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, right. What's up,
Yeah.
Ansel? Good morning, brothers. Salute,
Mhm.
salute. Oh man. So yeah, it's definitely key that we stay engaged. Stay engaged.
Mhm.
Stay engaged.
And know that not everyone welcomes your engagement.
Mm,
There
okay.
are
Okay.
stereotypes out there that are not comfortable with your engagement, and so you have to overcome those challenges and remain engaged. Don't quit because somebody
Oh,
said no.
right.
Own your space.
Right.
Don't catch a case,
Right.
uh,
Right.
but own your space. That's the thing.
Right.
I tell you, the most uncomfortable feeling in the world is when someone is checking your identity, validating. Man, if I had $1 for the number of times that somebody tried to make sure I was actually the father,
Mm,
you know,
wow.
the whole ID and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, do you live in the same house? I'm like,
Whoa. Yeah. Right. Right.
woo,
Right.
been there, done that, got the
Right.
button. Yep.
Right. Oh yes, he said. He said, "Yes, I did. Mom, did that." Mom says, "Just wait till your father gets home." Right? Me, he loves you, loves me. Yeah. What he going to do? Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah. It's and I think I feel because we're moving into a space where fathers are being more engaged. And my prayer is that a lot of that is changing, because I think it's just been mom for quite some time,
Yeah.
and not even like just the single mothers, but the married mothers, but it's always been the mothers,
Yeah.
and I grew up with, my mom was more engaged than my dad. She would check my homework. She would be, like I said, found out I was struggling in French. My dad was like, yeah, that is definitely not my department.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or he co-signed. He's like that. He said, son, I struggle too. Don't worry about it. You get through. You'll get through. So, yeah, I think, we just grew up in a generation where more, the moms were engaged in a lot of the education. Dads were there, but I think mom was more in school and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But we've come into a space where we just, we as dads, I want to know what's going on. I want to know everything. I want to see what's happening. Let's go to the school. Let's find out. You're gonna know my face. you know. I think we want to be more a part of the growth and development of our children. Because I feel like sometimes, the us not being as engaged, a lot of things have fell through the cracks. We're not walking the halls or men not around. Um, it is affected, our generation. So I think we're just
I'll tell
trying
you
to.
what. What helped me honestly.
What's
This
that?
is I got an early example when I met when I not when I met, but when I saw Michael Jordan and his father.
Okay. Okay.
Right. I saw Michael Jordan and his father, and then I saw Shaquille O'Neal
Mm,
and First Sergeant.
right.
Right. I said Michael Jordan and his father, and Shaquille O'Neal and First Sergeant. because Michael Jordan's father was very engaged in his life. He
Right.
loved his dad.
Right.
There was a relationship there. And I was
Right.
always so proud of that, right?
Right.
But then I saw Shaquille O'Neal make a song that said,
My biological father didn't bother.
right.
Right.
He
Right.
said the sergeant was my father because my
Yeah.
biological didn't
Didn't
bother.
bother. Right.
And that
Right.
thing stuck with me, and so and then I started, you think about all the athletes who get on camera and they say, "Hey, mom,"
Right. Right.
right? I never
Right.
saw, "Hey, dad,"
Right.
"Thanks, dad,"
Right.
right?
Right.
And like
Right.
little things like that in the 80s,
Yeah.
stuck
Yeah.
out to me. But I
Wow.
think I was more sensitive to it because, I came up in a house with an absent father,
Hmm.
you know, so I paid attention to little things like that. And I always said to myself, I never wanted to be the high mom dad,
Right. Okay. Right.
right?
Right. Right.
I never wanted to be the dude that was not spoken of,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
Right.
that was a motivator for me
Right.
to remain engaged, so that when my children grew up, you know, they would know me and they
Right.
would include me in their stories. I'm like, fathers, you want to be a part of the story,
Right.
a
Right.
good part of the story,
Yeah.
you
Definitely.
know.
Definitely.
Uh,
Yeah. I think
it's simple, but I mean, it's
no,
little things like that mean so much,
right.
as a father, you
Right.
know.
I I think for me, talking about the character of the show, just making clarity. Cliff Huxtable, was that engaged, fun father kind of thing. Like I enjoyed the fact that he was engaged. You know, um, uh, Sinbad had a show. It was like a reality show with his son years ago when his son, I think, was a teenager. Um, he said, "Yeah, don't let your children's story be written without you. Right,
Yeah,
without you
yeah,
in it. Yes, indeed."
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've always wanted to be engaged. Like I wanted to enjoy fatherhood. Like
Hmm.
I didn't want to just be that father that's there. I wanted to be dad. And it's funny that you said. I remember because we told a joke about that. The dad going to practice here, there, and everything. He get the camera in his face and he looks at it. He says, "Thanks, mom."
Yeah, yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
And I think, yeah, I didn't want to just be here. I really wanted to be a functioning part. Um, and though if there's unrest in my home, me stepping through the door, peace happens. Everyone get quiet, like, oh snap, dad's in the building. I didn't want to be the dude that when they're having fun, I come in the house and the fun stops. Like,
Right, right.
like suck the
Well,
fun out. Like,
but you know what's funny?
yeah,
It's funny you say that, right?
yeah.
Because I don't think, like, to me, I think that gets confusing sometimes,
Okay,
because I,
okay.
I don't think, there is a situation where you can walk in the house and the fun stops,
Yeah,
but there's also a situation where you walk in the house and you garner attention.
yeah.
People come to
Right,
attention.
right.
In
That's
the
true too.
military,
That's
when
true.
an officer came in
It
the
comes in,
room,
no matter
everyone
what's going
snapped to
on.
attention,
Right, 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 right.
to make sure that the officer was able to present, have instruction, or the sergeant. You
Right,
snap to attention, whatever the case might be,
right,
to take instruction.
right. And
And
then he
and
like
if there were no instructions,
at
the
ease.
leader would say, "At ease,"
Right, right, right,
right,
right,
as
right,
you
right.
were.
Right, right,
You
right, right,
know,
right.
and so
Yeah,
I think there's a difference. Like for me, I
that's
want
good.
I want to change. I
Tint,
want to
right.
shift the dynamic when I walk into a
Work in the
room
house. Right, right, right.
and be
True.
able to say, "As you were,"
Yeah, that's
you
good.
know,
That's good.
because there's a level of respect for
Yes,
authority when you can
yes.
do that. I don't
True.
want to walk into a room and nobody acknowledges that I'm,
Well, yeah,
you
I
know.
agree with that. I agree with
So
that.
I don't think it's, and there could be the case where you're a mean, ugly
Right,
person and the
right.
fun stops, but there's also a situation where people acknowledge your authority,
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
because spiritually, when
Right.
God is in the room,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Yes, indeed.
So I think, and I love that you said that, man, because I want to make sure people understand not to get those confused,
That's true. You're right. That's a
right?
twist. That could be a confusing message. That can
Yeah,
be. Yeah. True
yeah.
indeed.
When I right before I actually became a single parent, I'll never forget this. I was, I was separated. I was in the military, separated from my first wife, and
Right.
um, when
Right.
I got, and I was always involved, but when I got to see my child,
Mm.
uh, my child had been taught to call her grandfather daddy,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Because her mother called him daddy.
Right.
So
Right.
she knew him as daddy.
Right.
Nobody else
Right.
called him granddaddy because she was like the first grandchild.
Right. Right. Right.
And the first time I ever heard her call him daddy, I'm like, wait,
Right. Right. Right.
like what is that?
Right. Right.
And like you don't think about little things, but it meant something to me,
Right.
because I'm like, no, ain't but one daddy,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And
Right.
I think Samantha put it in here, don't let the book be written without you in it.
Right.
It was like little moments like that that helped me realize, you got to stay on this. You got to be engaged. You got to be in here
Yes.
because you never ever want your child to think
Right.
that you're replaceable,
Right. Oof.
right?
Right. Yes.
I've always wanted all five of my children to know what did God say, that you shall have no other gods before me.
Right. Right.
My
Right.
children know you can't have no other daddies
Dad
before
before
me.
me. Yes.
I don't play
Yes.
that at all.
Oh, yeah. 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 I'm with you.
I struggle with role models. I mean, I'm just being real. I'm grateful for the village,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
But know where your bread is buttered if you my child.
I'm,
Seriously, man.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm
because
with you.
as a father, the thing is, a lot of us want the label, but not the title.
Mm.
You
Right.
understand? A
Right.
lot of us, we want the privilege, but not the responsibility.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
and that's the thing that we have to, you gotta own this thing. And what I've always said to
Needs to be
my
right.
family is, I accept everything that comes with this role, the good, the bad, the indifferent. It
Right.
doesn't matter. When we celebrate, we celebrate. Because at the end of the
Right.
day, if there's a problem, it's on me.
Right.
And I'm willing to carry that, absorb
Right.
that.
He said, that's real. I know that's right. Your mind. Right.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
said, when I raised my first two kids alone, my whole neighborhood helped me, from my niece to the people I grew up with. Yes, indeed.
yeah.
Yes,
I love
indeed.
that. Yeah, I love the village concept.
Yeah. Right.
Just don't walk. Do,
Not too
do
much.
your role. Do your role. Your role. Oh, my bad. I don't know. This may not be coming out right, man.
No, listen. I mean, I get it. I get it. Because listen. There are things that you don't know as well, and there may be some in the village that does know and can show your child better. But it's just at some points like, y'all been learning this thing a whole lot. Y'all been a lot of time together, and not like it's inappropriate. Just like y'all been spending a lot of time together.
There's a lot of things that you can learn through the
Yes.
village.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that you're only going to get from your
Right.
mother and your father.
Right.
That's
Right.
how I see it.
Yes, indeed.
You know.
Yes, indeed.
So
Yes, indeed.
fathers, make sure you are available enough where you don't need a substitute.
Right. That's the message. That's the message. That's it. That's all. We appreciate you guys rocking and being with us. Thank you for hanging out. I got some other more of my folks rolling in. I appreciate you. Make sure you share, tag somebody that can replay this conversation, maybe get a little bit out of it. Just slide it in their inbox. Just like, hey, you need to check this out. This might inspire you just a little bit. Because, things happen, mistakes happen, time happens. But like, Elix put something in here. Let me put this up real fast and then we're going to get out of here. He said, it's a really good point. Be a part of their lives. If you haven't, just start.
Yes.
Just start. Now, granted, whatever age they are, you're going to have to deal with a little bit of repercussion of backlash, but get through it. Deal with it, right? Eat it, deal with it, but be there. Just like, listen, I'm here. And just be consistent.
Because you'll appreciate it later.
Right. Because they want you there.
Yep.
They mad. They pissed. If you ain't been around, you pissed. I can't even imagine. Like, you just Negro, where you been? You know, so just you're there and be consistent. Be consistent. Be consistent. Because if you're coming back, be consistent. You know. All right. Appreciate you, Mama Corey. Love this. Great conversation. Yes, indeed. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. So we look forward to seeing you guys same time, same channel. Make sure you join our community. Text LW into 84576. You'll always know when we are coming on. And make sure you watch tonight, Purposeful Forever, and make sure you be a part of that conversation as well. And we have Sister Legacy and Solomon's Temple Christian Ministries to nope, that's not true.
Georgia Metropolitan Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction Convocation this week. Georgia Metro, GA Metro on Facebook. Georgia Metropolitan Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction Convocation all week, starting tonight. Tonight you'll have the president of the men's department, Superintendent Melvin Evans, a Chicago native, pastored for over 20 years. Wonderful man of God is going to bring the word tonight. It's going to be hot.
Yes, indeed.
So look for Georgia Metropolitan Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction on Facebook.
Yes.
And enjoy.
Yes, indeed. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Be blessed. Continue to be safe. All right. So like I said, join our community. Join our community. I know some folks. I need to see your names come up. I'm doing the pastor call out. I know some folks. I need to see your name come up on my roll. All right. So text LW into 84576. Text LW into 84576. And Sal, if you're still here, I appreciate you rocking and being here together. And Elix, thank you, man, for coming through Taiwan. My brother, thank you for coming through always. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for rocking, hanging, being. Make sure sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that watch in the background that